Since I cannot put my thumb up, let me give you this fist bro of approval and Cybertronian blinking eye of endearment. Till all are one, Yuji Itadori. Arigatou gozaimasu, Convoy Sensei. Grimlock approves! For the past couple months, I've been getting quite a few requests to review this figure. And to those people, I do apologize that it's taken me quite a while to actually come around and fulfill your request. But here we are. Here I am, doing an action figure review of the Jujutsu Kaisen Yuji Itadori, made by Yolopark, in collaboration with Sunrise Pop. Here at the front, there's a good amount of window where we can see a good amount of the figure and its accessories. And then, it's got a nice weight to it. It's hefty, substantial, and whatnot. And here's a product shot of the figure, and here on the other side, here on the other side is just an extension of that product shot. It's just his left arm. Action figure 01, so he was the first to be announced, in this batch of figures. But they were released all together, I think, Gojo, Yuji, and Megumi. Anyway, flipping our attention here at the back, a brief overview of the details of the figure itself with the backdrop and the base and the rest of its accessories. Nothing much to see here, but I gotta say that this is actually collector friendly, which is nice given its price point. Okay, before we check out the figure, let's do the accessories first. So we've got this display base. This comes in two separate pieces, and they're very easy to put together. It's just a matter of keying it in there, down into the bottom piece, and you've got this inserts that you slide into the grooves. This one goes for the backdrop, and this one is the backdrop, but for some reason I can't get it to go down, go past that point. Maybe we'll have some luck with yours, but I'm not gonna bother doing it here. But you get what I'm saying. Same goes for this one. You just slide it into the grooves, and you got yourself a nice looking display base. Moving on to the more essential accessories, we've got two extra faceplates. And not that they did a terrible job at Gojo's faceplates, because they did a very good job, but this is just next level. The sculpting is good, but the paint job it's just next level, relatively speaking, given the price point. Look at that. Okay, we've got the Sukuna faceplate. Very nice painting and line work. I don't really see any paint imperfections, so that's really good. It's very expressive. And here we have the angry face of Yuji. Sorry for the shaky cam. I have a very unstable setup. There we go. Look at that. Wow, even the side profile is it's perfect. It is perfect. So cool. That's a good looking faceplate. Then we've got two open hands. And the other one actually has the tongue and the teeth. Teeth and the tongue. The teeth and the tongue are both sculpted into that mold. And they're painted nicely, for sure. The color separation between the white and the red is it pops. Yeah. Then we've got two curse technique execution hands. I guess that's a good way to put it. Sorry if my skin is glossy. It's actually sweaty because, like I said in my past video, I do have hyperhidrosis. Okay, some nice sculpting with the hands. So good job, Yolopark / Sunrise Pop. And then we've got some effects part that you can plug into his hand. So that's pretty cool. I like the translucent blue that they applied here. It's pretty dope. And then lastly, we've got the extra hairpiece. Awesome. Not that you'll need it, but it does come with a manual too. It's just this, piece of paper that is pretty straightforward and gets the job done. for those who probably will struggle in putting this figure together with regards to the accessories. For the accessories, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5 because it's got everything you need. What else could you ask for? Maybe there's something else you could ask for, like maybe a black flash power effect, but that's just a bonus for this, for a figure of this price point. For now, let's set the accessories to the side and take a look at the figure. Here he is, and he stands right around, that's about 6 3/4 of an inch, which does make sense. Gojo does go a bit over the 7-inch mark, and he's supposed to be taller than Yuji, so that's good scaling. For the scaling that they're going for, what Yolopark is going for. Okay, first impressions, he does, in some ways, look better than Gojo because he's got more going on. He's got the scarf. This is a scarf, right? I can't remember who gave this to him or he bought this himself. It's been a while since I've seen the anime, so I do apologize, but I don't have the wiki info for things related to Jujutsu Kaisen at the moment. I didn't do some research before doing this figure review. Yeah, I'm just winging it. Okay, I do know what Jujutsu Kaisen is all about, but you know, some of the details have escaped me. You know, whatever. let's just go ahead and review this as an action figure, okay? So yeah, he's got the scarf and he's got the shoes, and the reason why I'm pointing that out is because they're done in a very nice red color, which they managed to capture pretty accurately because this is exactly how we see them in the anime. See? The paint job on both. The scarf and the boots are done pretty well. Nicely sculpted. And they're painted pretty well. I mean, look at that. It's shiny, it's, you know, anime-esque. These are pretty accurate to the source, as we've seen them in the anime. There's a nice color separation between the upper part and, what is this? The outsole. Yeah, the outsole. And then we've got the shoelaces done in, it's like a silvery, no, it's not silvery, it's just gray. It's a flat gray, but because of the reflection of the light, it does shimmer a little bit. So, you know, that's molded and painted pretty well, so I can't complain at all. On his cuff, we do see that he does have an undershirt, so that's a separate piece. It's painted nicely. I think it's the same red as this scarf. Well, not really. This is more of a flat red, but it actually looks really good. It does create a nice contrast, and the scarf does have a nice glossiness to it. And there are some subtle differences between the glossiness of the scarf and the boots or the shoes, because the way that this is glossy is characteristic that of an anime leather shoe done in red. And the glossiness on the scarf is characteristic that of, you know, fabric if it was animated or something. So it's pretty good. There's some nice creasing on the shirt and on the arms as well. Same goes here on the pants. So the sculpting is pretty, you know, reminiscent to what we've seen from the Gojo action figure review. Yeah, I do love the proportions on this guy, and just by having it in hand, it does seem like it's put together even better than Gojo was. Not to take anything away from Gojo, but this is just different. This hits different. It feels more premium, is what I'm saying. I love how it's broken up for articulation. It's super pleasant to look at, and you know, even the hair is sculpted pretty well. The pink color right there looks nice, and the black here at the bottom back part of the figure, of the head, it just looks solid figure. For the aesthetics, you know what, let's give this, I give it a 4.8 out of 5. And let's give it a 5. I'm gonna give it a perfect score because why not, right? There's really nothing to complain here, and for the price point, it's just perfect. The details are in there, the proportions are perfect, And like I said, it's well broken up for being an action figure. I do love it. Okay, let's move on to the articulation of this review, of this figure. I'm still having a hard time speaking. I apologize for that. I still need to catch up on some Z's. Anyway, the articulation setup is identical that of Gojo's, but let's see if he does perform as well as Gojo does. Well, obviously we do have a hindrance here at the around the head because this scarf, it's hard plastic. It's not flexible. Not really. It is a little flexible if you really put some pressure on there, but it's not really going to do anything. Given that, even though he's got like double ball pegs at the top and the lower neck, he can only look up that much, which might be sufficient depending on what you're doing with this figure, what kind of poses you're putting him in. Looking down, you can look down. Oh man, his neck popped off. You know what? He still actually can't look up that much because this bottom part of his hair gets in the way. So I guess same difference really. Let's pop this head or neck back on. Okay. So no one's posing through this side-to-side tilt. You can move it around any way you want. For the arms, it can move out that far. So that's like, that's a Y pose. And it does have a butterfly setup going on, right? This separate plastic piece right here hides the joints pretty well. And even with that, let's see, the shoulders can move forward. Go forward. A good amount, actually. Yeah, a good amount. You can probably cross his arms. Or, I mean, put his arms across. Well, not really. Yeah, you can achieve it. You can actually achieve it. That's great. His forearms will have to do the rest. But that's solid range going forward. I love it. I do love it. Going back. See, yeah, you're gonna have to handle it with care because it might pop off some of the joints or this separate plastic piece or the entire arm itself. The same experience that I had with Gojo. It gets disjointed easily if you try to exhaust the range of the figure. But I'll move past that for now because we're just doing this review. The bicep swivel goes around 360, no problem there. Double jointed elbows, same with Gojo's. It looks well and functions effectively. Then it does have a ball hinge setup here on the wrist, so with that you can move the hand any way you want. Smooth, epic, legendary, awesome. Did I say awesome already? You know, just insert any adjective that you want to describe how effective this wrist articulation is. And let's move on to the torso. So he does have a ball peg setup right here. With that, he can... Oh no! It just popped off so easily. If you bend it forward with some force, it's just gonna pop off. That's unfortunate. How about going back? Not really much. There is some, but very insignificant. That's a shame. Side to side, not even any side to side movement really. Man. You can only rotate it just like that. But let's cross our fingers that it can move forward. It can bend forward at the lower joint. Same problem. It's too stiff. It's just way too stiff. The material on this upper part on his shirt is just way too restrictive. Doesn't allow for any movement really. So that's a shame. It's unfortunate, but you know what? The most you can do is rotation here at the top and here at the waist. Yeah, there is a drop down hinge right here. It's not an annoying type of drop down hinge, so I'm not gonna complain about it. You can go out. I mean, the legs can go out that far. Almost full on splits. I think that's sufficient. You can put him in poses where, you know, I mean, Yuji is a pretty dynamic character. He moves with great agility and his body is super flexible. He's like a martial artist type of guy. I mean, close combat kind of guy. It's not exactly that he learned martial arts. I think it just came naturally when he was, when he inherited the powers of Sukuna by eating the cursed finger. Yeah. Anyway, he's naturally a fighter. He's a natural fighter. He knows how to fight naturally. Oh no, can't do good pros anymore. That level looks perfect and it functions pretty well. So that's good. That's good. And then we've got some double jointed knees. There's some gapping right there, but nothing that sticks out like a sore thumb. I think I've already said that phrase twice in this review. I'm gonna try to be more creative in the next video. For this one, I do apologize. Please bear with me. Yeah. Look at that. You know what? It doesn't really hurt my eyes for some reason. Because maybe it's because of the color of the plastics right here. The gaps right there can just, you can brush it off as some shadowing when you're putting them in dynamic poses, especially when you put them in some like dim lighting kind of setup for your photography or something. Yeah. There we go. And I think, do we have some articulation here at the, at the calves? We don't actually need it. Do already have the thigh swivel. How about the ankles? His foot can go back that far. Going forward, good amount. Some ankle rockers. Solid ankle rockers. All the articulation, all the range you need for the ankles. You got it. You definitely got it. Okay, so let's rate the articulation. I would say 3.5 out of 5. It's fun to handle, but this portion right here, the torso and the hips, it kind of sucks, to be honest. It's very restrictive, and they could have avoided that, but it's still pretty fun to handle. You can still put them in very dynamic poses, for sure, as long as you get creative in utilizing the joints that do function. See? It's a very simple pose. It's very easy to achieve this basic fighting pose. I may have forgotten this, but he does have toe articulation, and it works well enough. Cool. Now for some size comparisons. I don't really have any Jujutsu Kaisen figures with me at the moment. I got my figures, most of my figures, inside of bins, on top of bins. If I were to go out of my way and take those out, this video would be delayed by another 2 weeks, perhaps. And we don't want that. Anyway, right next to him would be, on his right would be Ryu from Jada Toys, and on his left, Scarlet Spider by Mafex. Definitely significantly taller than Ryu. I do have a Jujutsu Kaisen figure here, an android Gojo. Pretty cute. Here's a McFarlane Toys. He's an armored Batman from the medieval ages, or at least inspired by medieval age design. And here he is, right next to the Mafex X-Force Wolverine. Here's Optimus Prime, made by the same company. He's having a hard time standing straight. Soundwave at the back. World class Hasbro. Falling down. There you go. That's Yolopark Rhinox. And that's G1 Optimus Prime. Both made by Yolopark. You got the touch. This figure of Yuji Itadori, made by Yolopark, definitely has the touch. Optimus Prime proved. Yolopark once again knocked it out of the park with this release. And where I'm from here in the Philippines, these figures have been selling out like hotcakes. Recently, they've been refilling their stocks, so that's great. But we don't know exactly for how many times they will be reproducing these figures. So while you can get your hands on Yuji and the rest of the figures from this line, go get them. Do not hesitate, because if you want to have like an import figure experience, like similar to an SHF or a Mafex or a Figma, because Mafex doesn't really do anime figures. Well, not really a lot. I guess they've done some in the past, but not in recent times. Anyway, I digress. My point is that if you want to have a premium action figure experience at a relatively low cost, this is the way to go. These Yolopark figures of the Jujutsu Kaisen line is doing wonders. They are legendary. You get a lot of accessories, you get a pretty cool display base, very nice aesthetics on the figure, a good amount of paint, done well. The sculpting is there. The sculpting is perfect. If you're gonna ask me, the sculpting is perfect, and he does look like the way he does in the anime. The articulation is no slouch at all, except that it suffers from very hindered torso articulation, but you can get your way around it because the rest of the articulation works well enough to compensate for that. As it is, it's still a pretty spectacular release, and you should not hesitate to pick it up if you can find it, especially if it's going anywhere between $25 to $30. Don't hesitate, just pick it up and you won't regret it. I swear, you have my word. He's pretty fun to handle, his joints work pretty well, he's pretty dynamic, he doesn't suffer from the kind of stiffness that is characteristic to virtually every McFarlane Toys figure. Like I said, it's a premium action figure experience for a lower cost. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. If you're just starting out on a Jujutsu Kaisen action figure line and budget is a little on the lower end, this is the way to go. These Yolopark figures do not disappoint, and I can't wait for them to do the rest of the characters in the series, like especially his Bestu Furendo, Aoi Todo, and Inumaki Toge, Maki Zenin. They should also branch out to villains, of course. That would make sense. That would make most sense. Was it Toji? Yeah, Toji and Jogo, the volcano head guy, and Geto, A-list villains out there. And it would be nice to see what they'll do with a Kento Nanami figure. It would be epic because I'm a big fan of Kento Nanami. Anyway, enough rambling. I'm going to give it a final score of 4.2 out of 5. Despite its hindrances, a lot of good things make up for it. Where the articulation functions well, it does a pretty good job, and accessories, you're getting a lot really for your money. And not that it's an actual determinant, but maybe it is. Of course it is, especially for someone like me who is a serious action figure collector. The figure boxes do matter. So in that sense, the box is super collector friendly. Anyway, do stay tuned for my figure review of Megumi. I should be uploading this one maybe 4 days after Yuji has been published. Thanks again, everyone, and see you in the next one.